I am making a video game. The hook is that you have a bunch of abilities per level, but you can only switch your abilities on death. And this is part 4 of my Devlog series. Hi, so in the last video I mentioned Baba is you, and I said that I really like the level select, the way that it doesn't force the player to beat every level. And I wanted to do something like that, but not completely copy it. So this is what I made. Basically, this is like a rhombus shape and shit. It's a pretty cool shape, right? So the first level is here, and after you beat it, you unlock more levels, and it goes like that. And the colors for some rhombuses are specifically chosen so that it explains what kind of ability you unlock in the level. So for example, here this is a red color. It means that you unlock a ability that's red colored in this level. So it would probably be the dash. And then here's the blue color, and then you unlock some blue ability. And then the other colors are just a mix of those colors. This one is pink, but the other colors are just a mix of the colors above them, and I just use some weird math. I don't fully understand how they are mixed myself, but I think they're mixed good enough. So for example, some rhombuses contain even more levels, and I have this effect where if you zoom out, then the colors are blurred together, and if you zoom in, then you can see each separate level. Some rhombuses contain more levels, and I thought to myself, what's the one thing about games that I like the most? And the answer was the mystery of the game. So the way I made these is that you don't really see that a certain rhombus has more levels until you actually unlock it. So for example, here this has more levels, but you don't see it. But if you beat the levels above it, and only then you can see it. Pretty cool. And here also there's more levels. And I also have a transition. If you like play a level, it's supposed to be a transition like this. I want to go on a bit of a rant on Unity's tools, or whatever you want to call them. I originally made this thing using the canvas, a part of Unity that's meant to be used to make user interfaces, and a level select is a user interface. And I made it, and then I wanted to add some other stuff, mainly about how these smaller pixels blend in with the bigger pixels. I actually had to add like 4 other quarters around this thing so the colors would blend together. This is how it looks like without those quarters, and there's just some black dots and it looks ugly as fuck. So I wanted to fix that problem, and I wasn't able to fix it using the canvas. It's really stupid how the canvas is just limiting. So you have sprites overlapping, then it's really hard to specify which one should be rendered first, and it's like impossibly difficult to change that during runtime. It also doesn't fully respect the sprite's pivot point. Also, a button can only have a single sprite that it uses as a hitbox, and some other shit. Basically, it was impossible to use, so I had to make my own buttons and stuff. Also, for this transition, so like it looks basic, right? But for this transition, I'm using a specific formula to define how fast it zooms in and zooms out and shit. And I wanted to use the animator to do that, because an animator, animations, duh. But once again, you can't really specify formulas on how something should be animated. You just have to use curves. If you want something to zoom in fast and then slow down, you can do that. But if you wanted to zoom in fast and then slow down using a formula, you can't do that. You just have to like approximate it. I thought I was being dumb about the animator and that maybe I just don't understand how the features work. So I googled how to make a sine wave using the animator, which is just a smooth up and down motion. And the only answers I found that don't involve a script is just to make the sine wave in the curve editor. Like just approximate a sine wave. just draw it yourself. That's like setting pi to 3. Anyway, so I have this. I really love how it controls. Everything seems really smooth, and well, you can't really play the levels. You can just select it and it goes back to here. So in this video, I wanna make proper level loading. And you might think that it's as simple as hiding this level select and then choosing a new scene to load. And yeah, but if you want to have more information about the levels, so for example, you want to know what kind of abilities are in the level without loading the level, or if you want to save a level as beaten, then the best way to do that, I think, without any research, is just to store some sort of a level data information. So for each level, it has some data. Some of it is manually set, like what abilities are used, and other stuff, like if it is beaten, is set at runtime. And also for each level, I have a level manager component. So this component also kind of stores information about the level and also information that's changed during the level's runtime. So for example, the initial checkpoint, which is where the player spawns. I can't really start that thing in the level data. It has to be in the level itself. And if you're not playing a level, it doesn't really matter what's the initial checkpoint or whatever. So the idea is that some data is stored in the level manager along the level, and the other data is stored in the actual level data. For initial ability states, so like what abilities can you use in the level and how much times. I thought about it and I decided that the best way to be is to both store it in the level data and in the level manager. And the level manager data has priority over what's correct, but if the ability is mismatched, then I would get some sort of a warning. And the main reason is because it's way simpler to edit ability states in here. Actually, maybe not. Okay, anyway, let's just make the level data. Okay, it kind of works. Not really. At least there's no errors. Okay, I think there's 2 cameras and... Okay, this is good. This is good. Here I'm playing and I'm selecting level 1 and... There we go, but for some reason the fucking transition is weird there. The zoom out is recorded by 2 cameras because there's an extra camera for UI here in the level 1, but that camera will be deleted when I clean this up. So yeah, this is basically working. Let's fucking go. And these shapes are supposed to be like this. I'm in the process of cleaning that up too. I think cleanly managing transitions and everything between scenes in Unity is painful, but I think I did it pretty well. Basically, when I'm playing level, I zoom in, and then when I zoom in, then I tell the scene manager to load the scene, and after loading the scene, to have the fade in transition. And then after the scene manager takes care of his stuff, it tells the UI manager that the level got loaded, and then the UI manager tells the level select control to disable itself because the level is playing, and then in turn the level select control disables this thing, but the UI camera is still rendering everything, which is on purpose. Yeah, so basically cool stuff. Now I need to make it so I can go back to the level select screen. It will not be difficult because I already made a pretty good system. Okay, so like when you transition between levels, there's a black frame right before going into a level, and that's because the button is being enabled at the last moment, and after it's enabled, because you're hovering, it changes color. And I generally do not know how to fix this. I spent like 30 minutes on it and I still got nothing. Like, I know what's the problem. I just can't figure out an elegant solution to disable it and re-enable it at the right time. So this is great. Okay, I think it works now, so yay. Everything is perfect. You can play the first level, and well, technically you can't complete it, but you can play it, and you can leave it by pressing escape, and everything is normal here, nothing is broken. So I did it. The way I decided to identify levels is that each of these things, rhombuses, whatever, have an ID. And if you take a level, it has also a number within its parent. For example, we take the root one, the ID is 0, and then all of its children have like the numbers from 1 to 25, I'm pretty sure. And if we want to calculate the full ID of the level, we take the normal ID of its parent, multiply it by 100, and then add its own level number. So for the first one, that will be just 1. But for example, Jesus, thank God. But for example, here when the parent is different, so in this case, the parent has an ID 3, which I set manually. So its full IDs would be 301, 302, etc. So it's just a way to classify levels for me, and that's the best solution I got. Yay. The levels are stored separately as it's each level data, and I have some stuff about them, and then a separate scriptable object for the whole level list. There's a bit of a problem that the isBeaten thing is persistent, so if I play the game and then beat a level and then reset it, it still counts as beaten. So I'll probably have to find an elegant solution for that, but for now, who the fuck cares? So this video just introduces the concept of levels, and for the next video I'll probably just implement more abilities. I have a couple in mind that I have. Some of them are like gonna be a bit complicated in terms of implementation. For example, one is just you splitting into 2 players, and then each of them have inverted control, so one of them goes right, the other goes left. I think the most interesting idea for this ability would be that both players can collide with each other, and one player can jump on another and then boost up somewhere. Yeah, anyway, we'll see about that. But for now, hope you enjoyed the video and have a nice day.